Fear can show up in a lot of different ways. We might actually recognize it as fear. We might notice it as anxiety or worry or a lot of self-protection. And living from that place is pretty normal for people that have experienced childhood trauma. And moving through that healing so that you can live your life from a place of freedom is something that you deserve and something that is such a significant part of what it means to heal. But how do you get there? Today, I'd like to share a little practice with you. Welcome. I'm Peggy Oliveira. Thank you for joining me. You've probably heard me talk about fear more than a few times. And I do that because it can show up in so many different ways and aspects of not just our lives, but even through this healing process. And today I want to focus on how we can begin to trust within ourselves to help somewhat mitigate the fear that we have that shows up because we aren't able to trust ourselves. So this is going to be kind of a little affirmation guided meditation practice. So you can follow along, you can listen to how I do it, and you can kind of massage it in a way that works best for you. So if meditation doesn't feel good to you, then don't think of it as a meditation, because all meditation is being present, really, being in the moment, here and now. You don't have to do it in any particular way. This is more about helping you connect to the practice itself. So you can listen on a walk, you can listen as you're doing some other sort of like household task, or you can sit and just be really present with the practice itself. Whatever works best for you. So I don't want to make this too long, so I don't want to get into a whole lot of how and why and all of that. But I have done videos on that type of thing before. So this is about helping you see, helping you connect with, helping you recognize the reality of the capacity that you have within yourself to know, to trust, and to feel. So if you can get into just a place where you can be comfortable, where your body can feel somewhat relaxed, at ease, because the more kind of open you're able to be, the more benefit this likely will have. But depending on your day, that may not be accessible to you, and that's perfectly okay. Even, like I said, listening to this as you're doing something else, if you're able to still listen at the same time, then this can have an impact on you, particularly if you take this idea with you throughout the coming days. So finding yourself in a position where you can feel your body relax a little bit. And that, again, can look a lot of different ways. The idea is to be able to release any sort of constriction or tension that you might be feeling in your body. Because when we do that, we are closed. And it makes it harder for things to come in. It makes it harder in our ability to be open and receive. So whatever that might look like for you. If you are somebody that feels comfortable closing your eyes and maybe can even do a little visualization, then I'd invite you to do that. if that, for whatever reason, just doesn't feel like it's going to work for you, that's okay too. I would just encourage you to try to, in a sense, almost tune out. If I have my eyes open, doesn't matter what I'm listening to, I'm going to be distracted because whatever it is that's in front of me, I'm going to be paying attention to that. So, whatever works best for you, okay? It's important to recognize that so much of how we cope is trying to tell ourselves that we missed something, that we should know better, we should do better, we should pay more attention, those kinds of things. And we do that from very early in our lives. And over time, that reinforces that kind of no matter the circumstance, no matter the situation, no matter what we feel, no matter what we want, we can't trust that. And part of healing is being able to recognize and trust that actually we can trust ourselves, whether it's something that we want, something that we feel, something that we don't want, just an intuitive or instinctual sense that we have. We can, in fact, trust that. And part of healing requires us to be able to follow what we intuitively know, to be able to connect with that first of all, and then be able to follow that. So I'd like to encourage you to identify some time, and it could be something very recent, it could be something from a long time ago, but identify a circumstance in which maybe it was a feeling, like this intuitive sort of sense. Maybe it was a thought that you had, a desire that you had, but you had this idea, this sense that whatever it was either was good for you or wasn't good for you, right? Like, so depending on the circumstance, it might be different, but there was a part of you that knew. And maybe you had some sort of confirmation around that, like where it shows up a lot of times for people is maybe you have the sense that it's not something you want to do. Like, I don't really want to do that. I'm not sure that's really best. Just some sort of feeling about maybe not doing something. And then you do it anyway because you talk yourself out of it. And again, this is something that could look very different for everybody. But you do it anyway, and then you realize that maybe it wasn't either the best idea to do it, or maybe you recognize that it didn't turn out very well for you. And it could be in a small way, or it could be in a big way. But the idea is recognizing that you did have an idea that maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe it's not the best thing for you. Maybe it's not the best thing for your healing. Maybe it's going against what you strongly feel. But you did it because you didn't trust yourself, because you thought that you should, because you didn't want somebody to be upset with you, whatever it might be. So you did it, and then there was some sort of kind of negative type of experience from that. And again, the degree to which it's negative could vary. But maybe you just came out feeling drained. Maybe you came out having a really negative consequence to it. Maybe you felt really bad about who you are. Maybe somebody treated you in a way that was really not appropriate, maybe very hurtful. So it really can look a lot of different ways. And I'd encourage you to just try to think of something. Again, it could be something relatively small, or it might be something big, but something where you had a feeling about something, a desire about something, you didn't honor or trust that, and the consequences were not particularly positive. And there's a good chance in that scenario, you probably beat yourself up afterward. And that could look a lot of different ways too. but you ended up maybe even taking responsibility for the not so positive outcome. But if you really think about it, those initial thoughts, desires, feelings, intuition likely told you what was best for you, what your truest desire might have been in that moment. So maybe give yourself pauses if needed, a little bit of time to think of something. And it's important to recognize that when you get to that place of then judging yourself for being in that situation, you are reinforcing that you can't trust yourself because you're going to be focusing on the fact that you made the decision that you made. You're going to be reinforcing the idea that you're not deserving of good things, that you deserved for that negative consequence to happen. So that judgment is reinforcing all of that. And I talk about this in other contexts, but in these situations, self-compassion and grace is really, really important. So today, what I want to kind of walk you through is being able to recognize without judgment that you can trust yourself. Because when you begin to trust yourself, so much of the fear that we live with begins to go away. Because you're grounded in your capacity to make decisions, to be okay even when those decisions don't turn out the way that you hope, that you can be okay no matter what comes up. So, still just kind of being in that situation, the where your body is feeling maybe a little bit relaxed. So thinking about that might have brought up a little bit of tension for you. So again, just kind of letting your body relax. Any tension that you notice in your jaw or your shoulders, just kind of let that melt away. Allowing your body to release any tension. And then try to be open. If it doesn't feel like it resonates, that's okay. You don't have to resist against it. Just see if you can be open to hearing, to listening. You have within you the capacity to know what is best for you. You have within you the capacity and the strength to get through anything that is going to come up for you in your life. And if you've experienced childhood trauma, you have very real and concrete evidence of that. You have within you the capacity and resilience to not only get through something, but to be able to grow from that. Despite that, because you have within you the capacity to know and to trust what is good, what is right, what is best for you. So repeat after me. You can repeat it internally or voice it. Voicing it sometimes can have more of an impact. I am safe. I can trust in myself. I can trust in my intuition. I can trust in my needs and desires. And it's okay if I make a mistake. I am still worthy. I am still deserving. I am still lovable. My intuition guides me, and it is safe for me to listen. It is safe for me to trust. It is safe for me to act on what those feelings are telling me. I am safe. I am worthy of trusting my inner knowing. And just allow yourself to breathe with that for a few moments, just noticing anything that is present, just continuing to breathe, allowing these words, this truth, to just find its way through your body, into your belly, into your heart. And then coming back, just notice what feels present for you. I know that learning to trust ourselves is one of the biggest challenges along this journey. And I think that that's true probably for most people, even that don't have a history of trauma. Because there's so much external messaging and experiences that cause us to doubt ourselves. But when you have believed throughout your life that you can't trust your own feelings, your own memories, it is incredibly profound, the impact that it has. But your inner knowing, your gut, your instinct or intuition, it will guide you if you allow it. If you are able to be open to the possibility instead of discounting it immediately, telling yourself that you should or you shouldn't. And I know that's something that I imagine that everybody who's listening to this right now can relate to. It is safe to trust yourself. Learning to understand what that intuition is telling you is a process and a practice. And being able to go back to those moments when you did have the sense or the idea, but you didn't follow it. Being able to reflect on those and recognize, yes, I did know, I did have that sense. That isn't something I wanted to do. I didn't feel good about that. That is evidence, and you've got plenty of it throughout the years, that can show you that that inner knowing has always been there. What has gotten in the way is the beliefs, the fears, the doubts. You are deserving of having the freedom, the felt sense of being deeply grounded in who you are as a human, with all your imperfections and flaws, with all the mistakes that you've made and will continue to make. And when you can begin to trust within yourself and know that your intuition will guide you, and that if you are misguided, that you will be okay. And there is clear evidence that you will be okay. That fear begins to dissipate and you begin to live your life from that grounded place. And you deserve that. And as somebody who helps people get there, witnessing that and seeing that is truly one of the most beautiful things that I have ever experienced. Getting to see somebody shift how they look when they recognize that reality. The look on their face, the relief in their body. And you very much deserve that. And so much of getting there is trusting in yourself. I'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts, reactions, experiences in the comments. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe and click the bell for notifications. Thanks so much for being here. I'll look forward to seeing you next time.